Fingers are finally moving.
And then the other two kind of go together, so yeah, let's do that.
So what's first?
We're gonna start with Hey Diddle Diddle.
Okay.
We are Nuclear Salad, and this is Ryan Jones on guitar, Doug Royce on fiddle, and I'm Peter Hardy on guitar. This first song is a song about climate change called Hey Diddle Diddle. Think you're so clever with your supersonic plane, artificial heart and computer brain. You can see inside the atom, gaze off into outer space. You can vanish in a moment, leaving nothing but a trace. Debate over abortion, homosexuality. You can clone a human being, but is he just like you and me? Your greatest minds are busy creating plasma TV, as your greatest cities vanish in the rising of the sea. Hey diddle diddle, Nero's tuning up his fiddle. Who cares about the burning? We've got Malcolm in the middle. The Pats are in the Super Bowl, the new survivor's here. Sit down on your sofa, grab yourself a beer. Take your money for their God in your country. The gap keeps getting wider between wealth and poverty. Though they feast upon the masses, they're never fully sated, but they'll perish with the rest in the wasteland they created. Hey diddle diddle, Nero's tuning up his fiddle. The sky is getting heavier, or so says Chicken Little. We're suckling our babies as the horsemen gain their saddles, and we'll cheer those sons and daughters as they ride off into battle. Each morning, just focused on the day. You come home in the evening, you got nothing much to say. You give everything you have, so your kids can have it all. Maybe they will pay attention to the writing on the wall. Hey diddle diddle, Nero's tuning up his fiddle. The cause of our ambivalence is something of a riddle. We gather at the Colosseum, the gladiators fight. The hole keeps getting bigger, full of ultraviolet light. Tuning up his fiddle. The sky is getting heavy. So says Chicken Little. Hey diddle diddle. Hey diddle diddle. Hey diddle diddle. Hey.
Welcome to the Adroit Artist. My name is Andre Cormier. I'm your host for this episode. Today we are lucky to have in studio performing and joining us to talk a little bit Nuclear Salad. And the members are
Peter Hardy,
Ryan Jones,
Doug Roysch.
Welcome, guys. And thank you for coming in, and thank you for being willing enough to play a set in here as well.
thanks for having us.
right?
So, which one of you is Nuclear and which one of you is Salad? Where does this come from?
Well, we've been playing music together for about 10 years, and we practice pretty religiously every Wednesday night. You know, unless something happens, you know, somebody gets sick. But one Wednesday night I showed up for practice, and I was talking about how I just can't get enough of that nuclear sauce over at the Roost. And I was telling the guys, I put it on everything. Like, before I came over here, I put it on my salad. It was a nuclear salad. Yeah. And then somebody said, hey, that's a great name for the band. And so, yeah.
It was either that or the Blurps. The Blurps was the first one. It was like, yeah, no.
My daughter calls it neon lettuce.
Neon lettuce. We've gone through a lot of iterations. You know, at times we've had a bass player and a drummer and harmonica and keyboards, and people come and go. And so at this point, you know, and through COVID, we haven't been gigging much, but now we're down to a trio at the moment. But so looking for a drummer, bass player.
Out there.
Do you like what you hear?
Anybody?
So that's what I was going to say. So you guys, like you say, there's been pieces come and go in terms of people in there,
yes.
But as you are the nucleus of the Nuclear Salad?
These two.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been playing together?
We played together for about 12 years.
Yeah.
And then as Doug came in just a year after, so Doug's been here for 11 years too. So yeah, we've been pretty steadfast.
Yeah.
Us three for 11 years.
Ryan's got a man cave, so we go down there to practice Wednesday night.
Big PA system. Drums all set up down there. Whoever wants to come and drum.
We're looking for a drummer. I'm sorry, I can't keep a rhythm at all, guys. So.
Yeah, neither can I. I can do it on my guitar, but.
So part of the set that we heard, the first song takes on the issue of climate change. Mm-hmm. When you guys are coming about and thinking about songwriting, I mean, that's something that's influencing everyone, but what's that process a little bit like as a band in terms of how you guys put songs together?
I usually write the lyrics.
Peter's the lyricist.
Yeah.
And then I bring a shell of a song to the band, and then we, just start playing around with it.
He'll give me the lyrics, and I'll go, you looking for happy, you looking for sad? And then I'll come up with some rhythm this way or that way, and then he'll go back home and he'll play with that rhythm a little bit more, and then somewhere that morphs into...
Yeah. I think I actually write songs backwards for most songwriters. At least from the ones that I've talked to, they start with the music, and then they struggle to find words to go with their music, whereas I start with the words, and then I struggle to find music to go with the words. I'm actually a writer. Well, I actually brought these in to show you. So this is a trilogy of books I wrote that take place in Maine, but they come with CDs because there's poems in the book that I put to music. Nice. And so actually all three songs that you heard today are in here somewhere in one of these books. But my daughter Zoe did the cover art, so it's a family affair. But all three of us were involved in the recording. There's 10 songs for each book. So it's about a tree with a consciousness. It takes place in Maine. And actually, a tree with a consciousness. I don't know if you can see that.
But have you ever had the experience where they both come at the same time, where their song, it's there?
Yeah, sometimes it'll just, like you said, it just comes to you spontaneously, the words and the music. Or more often than not, a chorus will come, and then you have to form a song around that, In
the end, when do you guys feel like, because I think this is in writing too, like the ending your piece is usually a really hard thing. How do you guys know, like you feel like you got it, the song is there now?
That's a really funny one because, I mean, if you look at Hey Diddle Diddle, where it started when we first were at it, versus the hard driving beat that we have now, it's almost like you first get that song out there. And I mean, it's kind of rough around edges and stuff, and as you keep playing it and you play it through, years and years go by and you play it more, and then you start hearing these little extra things that you start adding in. I think so. That's a huge one. I don't know if songs ever really stop morphing. I guess Hey Diddle Diddle hasn't changed much now since, but
Yeah.
Practicing together, that to me sounds like a really great thing to have as a constant, to know you guys can come together. But then playing for an audience, that's a different experience when you get to share that. How much do you feel like that's been different?
You know, we get a set list together. We're going to do about an hour probably, so we need 12-ish songs. And so, you know, when we have that goal in mind, then we're practicing those specific songs and trying to polish them a little bit. Whereas, you know, through the COVID years, we didn't have any gigs, so, you know, and in some sense it's maybe more creative because we're just we're playing whatever comes into our heads, and yeah. So I mean, it's different, but it's good to have both because sometimes you need a deadline to get those things polished, you know, instead of just kind of looping around.
Yeah, you got to hand it in eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good to have a target.
Yeah.
In terms of influences, before we talk about musical influences, do you feel like, you know, you're teaching math? Ryan,
I'm a Mason.
You're a Mason, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Doug, your
Geology.
profession- Geology.
Yeah.
Do you feel like those different? I mean, you guys are coming from different backgrounds. How much do you feel like that life experience influences the music that you make?
Well, the rock connection is obvious.
Exactly.
Right?
It's actually interesting how we met. I was putting in a wood stove in my house, and I needed to get a hole cut in my chimney. It's a thimble, right? Is what they call it.
Yeah.
And so I asked around at Hammond, and they were like, "Oh," gave me Ryan's card, and I called him up. Turned out he lived a half a mile away from my house. He came over there and bang, 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 put the hole in it, charged me $30. And then he's getting in his car.
That's
and
outrageous.
I know. We started talking about everything. We found out we both like the Grateful Dead, and we both play guitar. And so I invited him to come up, you know, a few days later to play music around the campfire. And, you know, it's kind of how everything started. All right, this next song is called My Beloved. I wrote this as a duet that I usually sing with my wife, but she's not here in the studio today, so you're gonna have me doing both parts. Searched for you my whole life through, yet I've always been with you. I've looked for signs of you everywhere, and yet I've always been there. Moving from lover to lover, if only you could discover I never could find the one. I've always been the one. Searched for you in every land. I've always held you in the palm of my hand.
striving for security. It's an insecure world, thirsting for some purity. You'll always be my girl, always. Consuming love, and what is it you're so afraid of? Love which continues to elude me still. I've loved it from time immemorial. How beautiful could my life be if you could just realize you love me? How high could soar my soul if you could make love to the all? How transformed would be my existence if you would just note my insistence. If I could only answer your call, if you would only answer my call, if I could only answer your call, you would only answer my call. All right, well, now we're going to do a completely different song. The last one was a love song. This song is called Half of Everything, and it's about divorce. Half of everything, how do you measure that? Half a refrigerator, half a photograph. Half a mind to meet you halfway. I'd make a half-hearted attempt if this were any other day. Half of everything, how do you measure that? Half of a Buick, half of a cat. I got half a mind to give you half of all I got. My half pennies you may have, my half pints you may not. My half pennies you may have, my half pints you may not. Convinced I own half of the blame, half the regret and half of the pain. Cheering halfbacks with half-wits, I was out half the night. My flag at half-mast when I came home in the half-moonlight. Half of everything, how do you measure that? Half of a Buick, half of a cat. I got half a mind to give you half of all I got. My half pennies you may have, my half pints you may not. My half pennies you may have, my half pints you may not. Of all marriages and in divorce, did we stand have a chance, or was it just a matter of course? Having a daydream, I'll still call you my wife. You were my better half, or half of my life. half of everything. How do you measure that? Half of a Buick, half of a cat. I got half a mind to give you half of all I got. My half pennies you may have, my half pints you may not. My half pennies you may have, my half pints you may not.
In terms of the instruments that you all play now, Doug, the fiddle that you...
I didn't pick the fiddle up until late 20s, but I had an advisor in Newfoundland whose name was Hank Williams, and he was an incredible string musician. So he was the inspiration. And I picked up a apartment mate's house, had a spare fiddle, and I started playing, and it was awful. But Hank said, "You just play it loud, you'll hear all your mistakes."
Nice. And Ryan, for you,
I grew up with a very musical family. My father played, my grandfather, my uncles. They were in a band for a long time called Country Plus. I had an uncle that played in the Mercer Bog String Band. And my grandfather was also, he was the head minister in the Norridgewock Church. So I grew up around music my whole life. And when I was about 10 years old, I had learned about 4 chords, and I hadn't even touched it again until after high school. And after high school, I had gotten sick, and I'd spent a couple of years laid up. Well, I had a friend that he was beside himself as soon as he found out I knew 4 chords. So he'd show up every day to my house, and we would practice John Prine songs over and over. I mean, the guy was a saint and wanted to play that same song that many times, but and it just kind of took off from there. It was just knowing those first 4 chords, you know. So I don't think I really started playing again until I was about 25. So that's when I,
started picking it back up.
Yeah.
Pete, has it always been guitar for you, or?
Oh yeah, I started playing guitar in college at Orono, and people tell me that I'm a singer. You know, I deal with the words. You know what I mean? I'm a word guy, and I'm a singer-songwriter, and so the guitar is just an excuse to get me up on stage. You know, I was in a Grateful Dead band, cover band, for a while before we got hooked up, and I started out playing guitar and that, and they just wanted me to sing. So I was just up there singing mostly, which was fine with me. You know, it's a little scary at first not to have the guitar to hide behind.
You're not singing behind the guitar, right?
You know, but so I'm strictly rhythm guitar. You know, I don't. You know, like the song goes, he doesn't try to make it cry or sing. Solos of swing. Ryan plays the lead guitar, and we actually
I play lead, I sing, I write some. You're a lot more open of a person than I am. I find I have a hard time when I'm writing music to be able to put it out there after you write it. You know, like 18
Let It Go.
Wheels,
Yeah.
Draft, that was another one. Yeah.
Ryan's got this great song called 18 Wheels, but he won't let it go out into the world. I think it's done, but he's like, no, I don't think it's ready yet.
It's not ready yet.
Catchy tune.
But at the same time, you need friends like that to push you, and you know, it's art. It's part of it. Yeah.
Well, it's a good point you make, and I heard that too with you, Doug, in terms of, I think on most things in life, having a mentor or somebody that's there, that it's a safe space to bounce off when you're doing creative things. Because, as you say, you do kind of feel vulnerable when you're making something.
Right.
You know, you don't want somebody to say that sounds like crap, but if it does, you kind of need somebody.
You need somebody to really let you know, honestly.
And beyond just, you know, it sounds like crap, but somebody can say, oh, well, maybe try this, or, you know, it has some feedback that can, you know, sounds like crap's a hard place to move on from.
As band members, we all take it really well when somebody has constructive criticism. Not that there really ever is much between us or anything else, but we've always been very open with each other, as far, which I think is part of the staying power, sticking together, is we're open, we're willing to go along, let's see where it goes.
Doug's always telling us to turn it down in practice.
He does.
He can't hear himself.
How do you see yourself being creative in other ways in life? I mean, in your professions, I would think that you can apply that as well.
Well, science is pretty creative. It's a lot more creative than most people think it is.
Yeah.
So I think that's my creative outlet.
For me, I wanted to be a painter my whole life. I can't even draw a stick man. That's a terrible artist. That's really what I wanted to do. So it was so funny that, you know, I happened into masonry. I started when I was 10 years old, worked every summer. By the time I was 18 out of school, You know, yeah, when you look at it, no single fireplace is exactly the same. Maybe the face you see just built with a stick or anything, but on the inside, a lot of that's all freehand and trying to adjust where the tile's going to come out. So, yeah, there's a lot of artistry in masonry.
Well, there's definitely a lot of room for creativity, and especially in the teaching of mathematics. You know, a lot of students don't see the need for it. You know, I mean, not my mathematics students, but you know, we teach here at a liberal arts school, and so everybody needs to take their one math class to graduate. And so, when you're teaching to that audience, you know, trying to find ways to make it seem useful and applicable to their lives, and not so dull and drudgery. So
He really cares because he comes down and he talks about it in band practice too. Yeah.
And I mean, I think science has also shown, like, people who are involved in music and arts in general, they're able to do better in other aspects that they're pursuing, right?
If you go to Newfoundland and say you're a geologist, they'll say, what instrument do you play? Every geologist in Newfoundland plays something.
How do you guys see, you know, for yourselves in your own life, what does this creative process and making music, how does that help you in your own life? But then how do you see that also being helpful for a community to come together?
I mean, when you're playing in front of a crowd, there's so much give and take between the audience and the band, and you know, your adrenaline gets flowing, and then if you see everybody's getting into it and even up there dancing, then that just makes the music so much better, and so you feed off of each other. And so I think music has a great power of bringing people together.
In terms of how art can also help people process things, do you find that as a cathartic thing for yourself, even when you're not playing together, has music been something that's been cathartic for you in life?
I think each one of us from band practice has had just an intolerable week at one point or another, and then by the time we're all done with band practice on Wednesday night, we're just, oh, thank God for Wednesday night.
Yeah, when we're leaving your place, and all of us are always really thankful. Like, I really needed that. You know, highlight of my week.
Right.
Thank God practice is over.
Now the truth comes out, right?
Just kidding.
I mean, in terms of catharsis, I think even more so than writing music, like if I find a song that I want to learn, you know, a song that really gets my blood flowing, and then you figure out how to play it, and then you practice it, you know, it never sounds exactly like you want it to, but that's something that is a really cathartic thing for me, is, you know, the feeling of accomplishment, but also because music has such a profound effect on us. If it's a song that already speaks to you, and then you find that you can make that music yourself, that's some of the times that I'm happiest playing music.
I know, talking with you guys, when we did the Fiddlehead thing, I know you have kids as well play music. Ryan, do you have?
Yeah, I have kids and I'm a grandfather.
Nice, congratulations.
Yeah.
But what's that like in terms of feeling that connection to music with your kids?
I used to get my kids up there on stage with me, you know, when they were young. I have 3 children, and my daughter Zoe, when she was 10, we used to go out to open mic nights around town, and she would actually get up there and sing with me. And my other 2, who Alex just graduated, and Cassidy is in 9th grade. When they were this tall, we had a family band. We called ourselves Party Hardy, but you know, that was short-lived. But you know, for a year or so, it was mostly just like gigs at UMF and various things. But they would actually get up and sing. They wouldn't be caught. Well, actually, my son just sang with me the other day, but my daughter won't. She won't be caught dead on the stage with me.
Typically, when you party hardy, it doesn't last long.
Yeah, exactly. Short-lived. It was wonderful, but short-lived.
Yeah, both Pete's kids and our kids are in the Franklin County Fiddlers, which is just this amazing group, thanks to Steve Muse. Just an awesome group.
Yeah.
I would echo that. Yeah, it's to be in this community and have someone like Steve and see the music program that's available for the school.
So lucky.
Ryan, your kids play?
No, my daughter doesn't. She's got a beautiful voice, but she is so shy that I can't get her out in front of anybody. So really got the fingers crossed for the grandson.
Sounds like we've got to get somebody in the family to start playing drums, though, right?
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming in, taking some time to talk about your music yourselves, and also share some of your music with us in the community as well.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.